to pay for pensions. He also wanted to spend $10 million to borrow for tax certiorars. We knocked that out. That's something we've never done. We've never borrowed for pensions on a general, except for very minor, very specifics. So he was at +4. It would have been a 4% tax increase before he's put his borrowing in place. And frankly, if any level of government we thought borrowing was okay, Nassau County's done that, and they're in deep trouble now. The states have done that, obviously. So Westchester County AAA has never done that. My colleagues went along with it. We knocked out the $10 million for tax certiorars, but my colleagues joined with the county executive. We all wanted lower property taxes. So they went along, therefore I had no choice. From where I stand, I voted again. The vote was 16-1. I felt borrowing to pay for pensions, which means we got to pay for them next year and the year after with interest. It's not going away. I thought that was fiscally not the thing to do. I did vote with my colleagues to override most of the vetoes because the vetoes were very specific. I did not support a discretionary child care scholarship. I felt that was a step too far. That was $500,000. I didn't support the Board of Legislators hiring 4 lawyers, which some of my colleagues had proposed. So it actually went from 2% to 2.2% decrease because I actually support the county executive on a couple of his vetoes. But borrowing, I would suggest, I know your taxes are coming down this year. You've done a good thing. But borrowing to pay for pensions is dangerous territory, and that's why I had to vote against it. Mr. Supervisor, thank you. I'll answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Any questions from the board, please?
I actually do have a couple of quick ones.
Sure.
Regarding social services
Yes.
and the homeless services.
Yes.
Are there any updates on closing down the housing in Greenberg?
Yes, the county executive wanted to close it down. We kept, as it turned out, the lease is up in September. I don't know if he knew that or not, but the lease was up, and the town of Greenberg, now they're talking to one organization about veterans housing. There's talk with senior citizen housing. But the homeless, as a homeless center, the board wanted to keep it open at least until September, so it would just end on its own 10-year lease.
Right.
And then so I was actually talking to the supervisor of Greenberg the other day, and he said he's had several groups contact him, one for veterans and one for seniors. So I don't know, but my understanding is once that lease is up, it really defaults back to the town.
To the town of Greenberg.
Town of Greenberg. So the supervisor was telling me the calls he's getting.
And so they can enter into a new contract with a veteran service, but you'd have to be a veteran. You can't just be homeless. You have to be a homeless veteran to go into that facility if that was the case.
If that was the case, I don't know what kind of restrictions, whether the town, again, following the flow of money that would support that housing, it's really the federal formulas might dictate that, but whether it has to be a veteran who's home. Unfortunately, what I read, there's a fair number of the veterans come back, do end up homeless, and we do what we can. We have a specialized unit that tries to work with them, but the supervisor will make those decisions, and I think he'll be constrained by whatever restrictions are on the money.
Okay, and my last question is, has there been talks about possibly privatizing Westchester County Center?
The Westchester County Center, well, first of all, it's a park. Now, it's like Playland, so we can't sell it. It was run, I believe, by Marriott, 10, 15, 20 years ago, as Playland was. So it was privatized, run by a private outfit, and I think like the concessions are run by a private outfit. I mean, there are parts of it are run privately. But the experiment of the whole center just being run, that came and went. I think we control the scheduling. I say, well, the food is run by a private source. So the quick answer is no. We put the money in. We've obviously upgraded it, but there's no current. Some of us are talking about not so much for the county, but for Playland, maybe like using sponsors. I generally don't want to see, not to pick on Pepsi, on a whole bunch of our county parks.
Yeah.
But since Playland is a business, and if it made sense to bring a few dollars in at Playland, some of us have talked about why not have some sponsors, because that really hasn't been discussed. But even at the county center, I wouldn't want to, see the arena. It's a county park. So the short answer is no. It is not, as a whole sense, it's not privatized. But it could be debated again.
I have one fast question.
Yeah.
Under the social services category, there's nothing for the transitional assistance to needy families? That's not part of the county's responsibility?
No. TANF, the family emergency assistance, I think it may be in there. We obviously run all those programs. So the TANF program, I think it's probably under the Family Emergency Assistance.
Isn't that like federal stimulus money?
No, the federal, we got some federal stimulus money, but it runs out in June.
But isn't that what you're using to help
Because this guy's
the family transition? No?
Well, no, because that's been going on, year after year. With the federal money came in, some from Medicaid. A lot of the stimulus money for us really came down is extra because we get the state gets 50%. The feds pay 50%. The states and the county have to pay the other 50% of Medicaid. It went as high as 60% for the last year and a half. The feds gave us additional federal money to pay for that Medicaid, and some of it we had to get in the law, the congressional law, that it came straight to the county, so the states didn't just take it off. That ends in June, so that's part of our problems as it is around the country. We're going to lose that federal stimulus, but TANF is one of the social service programs that we do implement. The state just passed a law last year. They want the state's going to take over the administration of Medicaid. It's probably going to cost us money. As you know, the state acts, it's just the whole Medicaid area is a mess. We're the only state in the country. So Westchester County is the number one highest tax county in the country. Probably 6 or 7 out of the 10 counties, top 10 on that list, are in New York State. And a lot of it has several upstate counties. 100% of the property tax goes to Medicaid. 100%. Before they open their doors, 100% is Medicaid. They survive on sales tax and user fees and everything. But it shows the impact of Medicaid on many of those upstate counties. That's it. That's the whole budget.
Mr. Rogowski, is there anything happening with the legacy fields? Is that still? Are there still monies available, or?
Well, I actually added some money into the capital budget. Mr. Astorino vetoed it. My colleagues voted me to override that particular one. We overrode many of his vetoes, but we overrode so we can have a discussion. He left that out of the printing. It's one example of certain projects he didn't put in the document, but we overrode the veto. So the money, presumably on paper, is there, but I will certainly look to you for assistance to sit down, hopefully, maybe relatively soon with the county executive, because obviously you and I agree that it's for the community and for the county. It would be a great project. So I added the money to make sure it would be there.
Now, how much?
Well, I put $6 million in.
Our $6 million.
I put
beautiful, great.
I put $6 million in.
Okay.
He vetoed it,
Right.
but we overrode the veto. But again, so it's just and he didn't print it either. But that's so I will call upon you. Certainly, you've been a leader in trying to move that along, and I appreciate your support in that. And I will look to you to help me
Wonderful, I will.
sit down with the county executive.
Well, listen, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Spend time with us and educate the
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Rogowski.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your hard work. Okay, I'm very mindful of the fact that Mr. Arnold from Vision Appraisals come all the way from Massachusetts. So we're going to go through two more quick items, if that's okay, Mr. Arnold, and then we'll break into executive session. Any other further comments from the public? Okay. Yep. Go ahead. Do you have any comments from the public? Yep.
Dick Hubert from Doral Greens and Rybrook. I would love to hear County Executive Astorino's reply to to County Legislator Rogowski's comments. It seems the board is accepting one view, and I have to believe there's another one. Haven't heard it yet.
I presume there is another view. I mean, I think that quite frankly, and I've said this for a long time, I think New York State government overall is unsustainable, and I think that we need to look fundamentally how we restructure the whole of New York State government, and I think tonight's not the forum for the debate. I think that there is an interesting debate going on at the county level very clearly. I think tonight was an opportunity for the county legislator Rogowski to put forward his views and distribute some information, which is helpful. If it were down to Joe Carvin and I could wave a magic wand, I would give serious consideration to eliminating county government. Mr. Rogowski and I have talked about this in the past, and and I think obviously you have to do it in an intelligent fashion. And you have to do it in a concerned fashion. And I think County Executive Astorino, I think County Legislator Rogowski agreed with it. He's dealing. Everybody's dealing with a very difficult budget issue. County Executive Astorino, I think, has done a fantastic job in terms of setting the tone of the debate and really looking to reduce expenditures, reduce taxes, at the same time be very aware and cognizant of how that impacts all of our different communities. So, look, we're all working very hard, to try and do our best, make our best kind of contribution. And I have a lot of respect for County Legislator Rogowski, who's working very hard for our constituents. And not everybody has a lock on the truth, not even the town supervisor. So I think that these kinds of healthy discussions are good. And, at some point in time, we'll probably have an opportunity. Maybe we'll organize a forum just to discuss these kinds of things. I think that might be a good suggestion. Invite tomorrow night. I don't know if you can come. Actually, I think County Executive Astorino is coming tomorrow night to our Rye 350 celebration. I'd certainly encourage Mr. Rogowski, if you're around and available. We're really looking to set the legacy, as you suggest, for the next 350 years. So if you're around, we'd love to see you tomorrow night. Any other comments or questions from the public? Okay, we're going to go, as I said then, we're going to take two presentations, work through them as quickly as possible, and then break into executive session. So Mr. Eways? Eways, pardon me. For all the good work you're doing for our community, I should be able to pronounce your name. Sorry.
Edward Eways, Portchester resident, proud to say that. I'm very sorry about your loss.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
The strength of the people is alive and well, and this event that I talked about, Unity March 2011, back in October 26th meeting, 2010, has grown into something of a very impactful project, and I'm very proud to say that. So basically, this is more of an invitation than it is a presentation, because now the event is set for the most part. April 16th, 2011 at 11:30 a.m., the Carver Center has come aboard to host the spotlighting portion of the event. And there's two portions, the spotlighting and an empowerment portion. The spotlighting portion will be in the gymnasium. We have Big Brothers, Big Sisters. We have the Natalie Aaron Crespo Foundation. We have the Boy Scouts. The DARE program has got an invitation. We have Your Turn, which is another nonprofit organization. All these organizations will be spotlighting what they do, and that's all good works within the community and outside of Portchester. I have an MC, a DJ. Frank's Restaurant is going to be providing all the food. I have a national anthem singer and a lot of different speakers. And we have also other entities coming. They haven't completely confirmed, but they're pretty much 95% confirmed in the event. That should take approximately about 1 hour. After that, we're going to go on to Westchester Avenue, and now I'm meeting with staff tomorrow. Pretty much everybody has supported the march portion of it, from the mayor to the board of trustees, to every political actor you can imagine throughout the community. I just have to meet with staff tomorrow to iron out the permit and a few other things. And that's the empowerment portion. And what that's going to be is going to be a walk, and it's mostly a symbolic walk, just to show that we all can come together, and there is a lot of strength in Portchester and Rybrook, and we can leave politics aside and do something to bring people together and to promote something very positive. And what we're going to do is going to be walking from the top of Westchester Avenue down to the Portchester Rybrook Library, who is also going to have a table in the spotlighting event. And I felt that the Portchester Rybrook Library is also symbolic of the two communities coming together, so to stop it there would definitely be, I thought, a good thing. We have a little ending, a little motivational speaker, and we're going to do a little something that's going to just take a few minutes, but it's going to be very impactful for the media. And that is the entire Unity March 2011 event. It's definitely something historic, hasn't been done before, definitely from the grassroots up. I am a very big supporter of grassroots programs. I like to do things that haven't been done, because I believe that people can come together, can step forward, and try something new. And that is the entire project. So I want to thank this board for supporting me.
Well,
and I want to invite you, please, to come and march with us.
Thank you so much. Any questions from the board? So I just want to remind the people at home, so it's April 16th at 11:30
11:30 a.m.
a.m., and they go to the Carver Center?
Carver Center Gym. That's
And
the
there'll be an
spot.
hour of activities and
Food,
visiting there, food,
that stuff.
and then the march will start an hour after about 12:30, 1 o'clock,
That's correct.
and start at, you'll go from,
Top of Westchester Avenue, where the Carver Center is, with Supervisor, down to the library.
beautiful.
So it's very quick, but it's very impactful and symbolic. And it's something that truly transcends politics, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show, and I also have a great staff, by the way, I want to give them credit, but I wanted to let people know that we can put differences aside, because I think essentially we all want the same thing. Everybody has a different difference or different opinion, but none of us want to see our community not do well. So this is something that shows everyone come together to promote leadership, volunteerism, and positive stuff, and the same agreement of the community growing in a positive way. And that was the idea of this. And usually when I start these type of projects, they always take a life on their own, basically, and people step up, and I'm confident of that. Because when you challenge people to step outside the box and show that they can be leaders and let their passion seek out, it really turns into something beautiful. Just to have that trust in the community.
Well, thank you so much for organizing this. Have you met Mr. Arcaro, Greg Arcaro, who works with us, our ombuds person? And if people want to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with the?
You can go on unitymarch2011@gmail.com.
Okay, Unity March 2011
@gmail.com.
Okay.
My director of operations, Matthew Varghese, he oversees that all the time.
Perfect.
You can also contact us on Facebook under Unity March 2011. We have 2 pages. We have about 300 people, friends and attendees total, confirmed to be there. So that was a very powerful piece to Facebook. So those are the 2 best ways. I don't usually give out my personal number.
No, it's okay. You
There's
don't
too
have
many people calling, but those are 2 good ways of getting...
Wonderful.
yeah.
And the thing is, you should talk with Mr. Arcaro, and if you have a chance, come tomorrow night to Crawford Park at 7 o'clock.
Shall be there.
Good, okay, because we want to, feature this. We'll give you an opportunity to speak tomorrow night, and also talk about our Model American Community Project, because it's precisely these kinds of things we should be trying to do.
Thank you. And I want to thank this board, Mr. Villanova, and Mr. Carr. I want to thank you guys for supporting me, and actually verbally supporting me, as well as the rest of the Board of Trustees and everybody out there. It was nice to see. I wanted to present something that was easy to agree with, everybody to agree with.
Right.
And I felt that this is as good as it gets, because the idea of promoting your community
Yeah.
is always a win-win situation.
Well, thanks so much, Mr. Eways.
Thank you, Mr. West. Thank you, sir.
Good to see you.
Okay,
Brian Smith now from,
Mr. Nardi, we have the, the Southberry Avenue Bridge. How are you this evening, Mr. Nardi?
Not bad.
Good, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Mr. Nardi, could you just put a little bit this way too, so we can see it here as well? I don't know how, Bob, can you see? Oh, beautiful, that's great.
Okay.
Can you get that done? Okay, thank you.
I've seen it before.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Smith, Onam and Kirby for the record. I'm here to fill in some information regarding permits, bids, and an updated timeline on construction. 2 quick things before I start. I did bring photographs this time so that the camera can pick it up for the viewers at home. And secondly, Army Corps of Engineers has given me new joint applications that I'll need the supervisor's signature on. Should I leave those with Mr. Nowotnik?
Yeah, please, thank you.
All right. First thing, I'll fill you in on the status of the permits. New York State DEC and Army Corps of Engineers has a joint permit that has been filed. On February 16th, the DEC has reached out and requested additional information that was provided to them. Today, I received an email from the Army Corps of Engineers requesting minor modifications to some of the applications. As soon as I get the signatures, those will be sent in tomorrow. United States Coast Guard, as I said last time I was here, They are on board with the project. They simply need a letter signed by Mr. Nardi stating that our start and approximate completion date. They need that about 3 weeks before we start. They're going to notify all the neighboring properties so that everyone knows what's going on. Village of Mamaroneck, I've